So before we get to the pictures, you got to understand the symbols and what all the little symbols mean and everything. So first of all, there's something called union. Okay, the union has to do with or, and the union of two sets. It's whenever you just put everything together. Okay, you don't worry about if it's in common or not. You just kind of put it all together. The notation like this says A union and B, and it means just any of those things that are included in A and that are also included in B, not the intersection, not what they have in common, just all of it together. It says the intersection of two sets, so it belongs in both of them, and the notation there is A intersection B, so it's upside down U. All right, let's look at the examples. So before we draw any Venn diagrams, here's an example where it tells you, okay, A is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. B is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And C is 9 and 10. So the first question, number 1, says A union B. And what that wants you to do is to write down all of A, and then you write down all of B that you haven't already written. We've already written 4, 5, and 6, so I'm going to write then 7, 8, and 9. So that would be A union B because that's all of A and all of B all together. Number 2 says A intersection B. So that's where you look at A and you look at B and you write down only the things they have in common. And that would be 4, 5, and 6. Okay, so A union C would be all of A, and then all of C that you haven't already written. I'm writing a comma just to separate that 9 and the 10, okay? All right, A intersection C means what does A and C both have in common? They don't have anything in common. So you can write none if you want, or you can write the O with the line through it. That stands for the empty set. That means there's nothing that they have that's in common.
Fancy.
Okay, try 5 and 6. Okay, so number 5, B intersection C is going to, or B union C, I'm sorry, is going to be what?
4,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
10.
9. 10.
Because you write all of A and you write all of C that you haven't already written. And then B intersection C is what the two sets have in common, if anything. Do they have anything in common?
9.
9. It's kind of the same thing, except there is a picture, and the picture helps us to understand it better. On the problems we just did, they were just lists of numbers. But the problems that we'll be looking at is like the numbers of people. Like if I talk about brown hair and blue eyes, it will be the number of people rather than just a list of people. Like I'm not just going to list all the people that have brown hair, but it's going to be a number of people. And so it's going to change just a little bit from what we just did. All right. The rectangle, when you have a Venn diagram, represents the universal set. And universal set means everything. Okay? Everything and everyone. All right, circles are part of the universal set. Whenever you talk about this right here in the middle, that's A intersection B. When you did this in probably English or social studies, that was the part they have in common. It's the part that they share. All right, whenever it asks you to find A union B, you add those 3 parts together. All right, so we're going to draw a Venn diagram to represent people's blood.
Do we have to draw the ball?
You do. All right, it says we have 1,000 Americans. Well, 1,000 goes outside the box, and that tells me that everything inside the box has to add up to 1,000. Okay? It tells me 450 have A blood, 140 have B blood, and 40 have both. All right? 40 goes here because that's both. However, I can't just put 450 over there on the A section. because 450 includes the 40 we've already talked about.
Subtract 40 from
So you subtract 40 from the A to get only A, which is 410. Then you subtract 40 from 140 to get 100 for only B. Now, what should happen is everything in the box has to add up to 100. We're missing the part of people that don't have A or B at all. So how do I find that?
subtracted
So I can add these three, subtract from 1,000 to get this amount here.
550.
550. So there's what the Venn diagram looks like. Okay. All right, this is supposed to be 450. Okay. All right, next question says, the question here said determine how many people have neither type. So the answer here was 450 because they have neither. Okay, and then underneath there it says find, and it says an N, that just means the number. And then it says A intersection B, so how many is that? 40. It says to figure out A union B. And this is a formula that we may need later on. But when we're trying to find A union B, what we're going to do is we're just going to add the three circles together. And then
550.
the three circles together gave me 550. And so that was the answer. What it's telling you can do is before you subtract off that 40, you could add the number that had whatever, A, and then the number that had B, and then you could subtract off the number that they have in common, and that would give you also the 550. That's another way to do it.
So the 450 doesn't even matter.
Okay, so we have 50 students that we're looking at South Caldwell. So where would the 50 go in this Venn diagram?
At the outside.
So 50 goes here because that's the number of people we're looking at.
Copy out 18 people.
18 people are taking band, 26 are taking chorus, and 2 are taking both. So what number do we start with?
The 2 in the middle.
Good. So I'm going to label it band and chorus. We have 2 in the middle because 2 of them are taking both. So how many people are only taking band?
16.
16. So I subtract the 18 minus 2 to get that number.
24 taking chorus.
Bless you.
you.
Thanks. All right, and then we want to figure out the one more thing, which is the part outside the circles but inside the rectangle. So this part, the number of people that are taking neither. So
42.
16 plus 2 plus 24 is 42. But then we subtract that from 50, and we get 8. Okay, so how many students, Peyton, are taking chorus and not taking band?
24.
Okay. Amelia, how many students are taking both band and chorus?
2.
Aaron, how many students are taking band and not chorus?
6 2.
Good. Nathan, how many students are not taking band or chorus?
8.
Okay. How many students are taking band or chorus? Zach? 42. Because you add the 16, the 2, and the 24. Okay, and then F says C intersection with B. So Haley, how do you do that one? It's 2. That's correct.
Oh, so I got
Because
that right.
because it's just the part in the middle. And Shelby, how do you do the last one? So C union B is the same as asking you what E asked you, because it's asking you what is OR. It's just asking you to add those circles together.
Oh, so I did get that right.
So you get 42.
Oh, dang it.
I had my.
All right, so be really, really careful. You do have to subtract the 220. We'll put 220 there in the middle. You have to subtract that 220 from the 335 to get just math. Is it 115? And then to get just science, you have to take the 220 away also. 67. All right, we know that the total number of people are 540. And we add those three, subtract from 540.
138.
And then 138 is our question because it said how many are taking neither math nor science. Okay, try the next one by yourself. All right, so Proposition 1, it said 52 voted for Proposition 1. There were 18 that voted for both, so 18 goes in the middle, but I need to take the 52 and subtract 18 to get just one. 34? Is that right?
And 28.
And then 28.
I got 20.
There's 20.
Proposition 2 is 38, so 38 minus 18 is 20.
Oh, it is 20. I'm
You
gonna
get
cry.
14.
So then you add 34, 18, and 20 together, subtract from 100,
14.
and you get 14.
I got 20. What did I do? I got 28.
I got 28. So the answer is 28.
I got 28.
So there's 28 there. Okay, so the final question says how many voted for neither, and so how many voted for neither would be the 28.
Oh, I got 48.